And welcome back to episode 154 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
Me, Carl.
And the last Tech Rant of 2023.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you know, we've been doing this show, I worked out earlier, for the best part of 3 years and 5 months.
Have we really? Blimey. It's a lot longer than I thought. Oh, wow. We're coming up to about 3 years, I'm sure.
So I kind of was like, how long ago was August 2020 when we started? And, Google
did it.
Yeah. And Google was like, well, if you started from August the 1st, it's, 3 years, 5 months, 29. I was like, whoa, okay, that's a lot longer than I thought as well.
I remember starting it thinking, like, well, what are we going to do in the pandemic? Board can't go anywhere, let's do a podcast.
Yeah. The what demic, sorry? So we are back for our last show 2023. This is unscripted. We haven't got any notes for it. We might have done. I haven't. We've notes for this.
Do you ever have any notes?
I do. I scribble notes down. I run off the back of the list that we've got, and I scribble stuff down bits of post-it notes. That's my note thing. And I have stories open as well, so I can highlight. Using the thing on the browser. You highlight the stuff.
Yeah.
But this is, let's say, the final show of 2023 before we enter into 2024. Can't believe I'm saying that. And what we wanted to do was kind of every year we have a kind of a way to think about, what was our best stuff, wasn't it? What was the best games we saw, played, I should say? What was the best films we saw? What was the best, TV series came out?
Yeah.
And of course, we talk a lot about the series and stuff and how we enjoyed them, but kind of coming back round to it, be good to kind of think, was it as good as we thought it was? Was that film really as good? Thinking back on it, actually, was that really that good? Because a couple of these films, I think to myself, that was terrible. But
yeah, watch it the second time, you pay a bit more attention. You're like, maybe no.
You're like, what did they do there? I don't know. So that's what we thought. So before we get back to our normal scheduled programming and the first week of January 2024, where we will have all of the latest tech. So this, as I say, is going to be about what have we enjoyed. So go on, Carl, you kick us off this week, this show, or this episode, this year, this month.
What have I enjoyed?
What have you enjoyed? Give us your first pick, sir.
Let's think gadgets, okay?
Good call.
Gadgets. I did acquire a DJI Mini 3 Pro. Shortly before my summer holiday, I did.
That's right, you did, didn't you?
But in all fairness, I had a Mavic Air, which was it's seen better days. It was quite an old one of the initial Mavic DJI drones, so it was quite an upgrade, even just going for the Mini. Coming from the Air, I think you got much better battery life. I think I was only getting about 15 minutes battery life on the Air, getting over half an hour per battery on the Mini 3 Pro. Having the screen built into the controller was a massive jump, because obviously you have to. Yours doesn't have the screen, does it? You've got the Mini 2.
I've got the Mini 2, so in my controller, you slot the phone on top of it.
Yeah, I always do. Mine went underneath in the Air, but same principle, and you plug a cable into it, and it works that way. So that's great having that. I don't have to have my phone, out and attached to it. I can't use it. And the biggest one, though, for me, was going from getting OcuSync, which is their transmission thing, because the Air uses Wi-Fi. So, I
forgot how dated that was. Yeah,
I had got some fair distance on that. I think I probably got about 2 or 3 kilometers on that, which is pretty good and very rare. But now with the OcuSync 2 or 3 or whatever's on the Mini Pro, the latest one, massive difference. I don't really get interference anymore. Though annoyingly, I bought the Mini 3 Pro, and the next month
the 4 dropped.
Pro came. The 4 dropped, of course.
But that's like every time you upgrade anything, isn't it? It's always the way.
I mean, some of the things I don't like so much about it, it's definitely not as stable as the Air in high speed.
You don't reckon?
The Air's a lot bigger craft. It's probably twice the size.
I suppose that's the thing, isn't it?
And the Air does go faster. You get 40 odd miles an hour on the Air. Whereas the Mini does like
is that in sport mode though?
Yeah, in sport mode. I think the same as the Mini, you only get 35, 36 miles an hour in sport mode. So I've done it a couple of times and it flies.
And that's also with what's the word? The
sensors all turned off in sports.
The sensor turned off. Basically, you crash it, it's your own fault.
yeah. There is no emergency braking going on here.
No,
I did it a couple of times in a wide open field, and but she flies. That was a really good one for me. I took it on holiday up to the Highlands and got some stunning footage. Really, really impressed with that one.
So yeah, I have to say I've been looking, and sorry to rub it in. I've been looking at the Mini
For
4 stuff, um, and I don't need to upgrade. Genuinely, don't need to upgrade at the moment. I'm not at that point. But I was looking at some of the videos and some of the tech specs on it, and that the 4 is superb. How do they pack all of that
don't know.
in to a device that is 249 grams?
I know that's it. Still weighs less than the 250. That doesn't really matter so much in the UK anymore, does it? You still need to go and do your tests and stuff like that
But
now with the
still,
new
though,
regulations.
I mean, the fact that it's got that new what do they call it? Is it active shots? Isn't it? I think the 360 thing.
Yeah.
So you can now do tracking mode that up to 20 kilometers with full HD video. I read as well earlier.
Oh wow.
I mean,
oh yeah, is that a new version of OcuSync? Is it?
must be, yeah. And the fact that you've basically got, again, is it pretty much a 4K camera as well on board?
Yeah,
It is stunning.
It's 4K, but it's got HDR as well, and it's better optics and lenses compared. I mean, the Air still did 4K; it wasn't HDR, but yeah. And you even get things like I think up to 120 frames a second at 1080p and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not sure would I need that, but it's got that capability in it.
I talking of drones. I mean, you watch a lot of films today, don't you? And you think, oh, those shots, and then you kind of like think, in the old days, that would have been either a long,
hanging out of a helicopter, wasn't
it? Yeah, but exactly, hanging a helicopter, or it would have been one of those long boom arms, wouldn't it? That they'd have.
That's it.
But now, all these sweeping shots, the drone shots, there's no other way they could do them, and it's absolutely amazing. And you think of some of the the high end drones, and the camera rig stuff with red cameras on them and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into the other use of drones today, but we know that drones are getting a lot of other usage, commercial drones, don't we?
Yes, they are.
But yeah, I think you're right. The 3 and the 4 are definitely superb bits of kit. I can't take that away from them at all. They are very cool bits of kit, and reasonably priced, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I paid considerably less for my Mini 3 Pro than I did for my Mavic Air when I bought it.
Yeah, I mean they're not cheap. Let's be honest, they're not.
They're not.
But they've come down massively in price since they were first launched, isn't it? You think they were very much unattainable. Now, okay, they are not cheap in the sense of quick and easy £20, $20.
No,
but they are affordable in the sense that most people can purchase them.
Yeah, an amount of technology and kit and smarts built into that. Crazy.
Yeah, very, very cool bit of kit. But maybe I will get to the 4 at some point. Who knows?
Oh, I did see the Mini 3 Pros going for like £400. Just the drone, you still need a controller on top. But I was like,
yeah, and then the Fly More pack and all that jazz.
What I paid for mine. Darn it.
Yeah, again, that's always the way.
It is. Yeah. Talking of upgrades, I probably don't need, but really, really want. And I know you want this.
Go on.
Quest 3.
Yes, you know what? I was just going to say, talking of kind of upgrades and stuff. Gaming. I guess that would be a good segue because I was going to come into gaming, but let's touch on the Quest 3 just a quick second. I mean, I'm still very much thinking that is going to be something I'm going to buy this year.
The bit that did it for me was that I think I sent you the link, that mod for DC. Yeah, somebody's done something where he's got, because it has AR, he's done pass through. Clearly, he's using some software to map it out, but you can see his hands and the joysticks and all his like Stream Decks and his instrument panels, the real life ones using AR. But anywhere you'd see out the canopy in the plane is then VR. So you've got a mixture of VR and AR going on, but you can actually use your keyboard. And
I was like, I saw that and watched the video, and I was like, I'm sold. Here, take my money. That meme, with the Fry Futurama. It was take my money.
I'm always tempted, like you. I keep sending you links, and you do it for me. Of you can get the people have handcrafted all the instrument panels and stuff. Can't you? You go and buy them, and you hook them up via USB, and you can map them to your F18 or whatever. It's like, but I can't use that in VR.
No.
Now you can.
Yeah, it is very tempting. Very tempting. I had to go on Flight Sim the other day, actually, not DCS, but Flight Sim.
Oh, yeah.
And the Quest 2. No, I've got the Rift S already. The Rift S. Yeah. The Rift S is good, but it just doesn't have the fidelity in the cockpits. Sharpness. and I want to play more in VR for Flight Sim because it's the only way to play these days.
Because you can't go back to 2D anymore, can you?
No, it's. I mean, I was playing with the Concorde the other day, and it was nice to do some external shots on that, in 2D. That was quite cool, to see that. But you're right, the immersive experience, you need to have VR. And given that Flight Sim 2024 is coming out next year, I think you and I will be heading for a Quest 3 sale at some point. Maybe they'll do it as a deal.
Well, buy two. How about we buy one, get one free? That'd be lovely.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? So talking of games, and one of my picks this year was not the several games that we've played, but actually one that kind of came out this year was RoboCop.
Yes, I mean you beta tested it, didn't you?
I did. So early in the year, I couldn't mention it, but obviously I was on the beta test. Signed an NDA. RoboCop Rose City, which came out. When did it come out? December, didn't it? Or was it September?
It was last month or so, wasn't it?
I can't remember now, but yeah. So it came out. It is a good game. It is not going to set the world alight. It's not a AAA Cyberpunk 2077, all that jazz. But it is a good game from was it Teon, and Nacon is the publisher. But what it does is it just captures the whole spirit of those first two RoboCop films back in the 80s. And it does it perfectly. And the fact that they've got, what's the guy's name? Brain's gone dead. Who was RoboCop? Paul, was it Paul? Paul.
I don't know. Yeah, I know you mean. Can't think of the name, though.
Oh, it's going to come to me in a minute. Brain's hurt. Who is it? This is Peter Weller. That was it. Peter. Yep. So it's got the voices of Peter Weller and Nancy Allen, who were RoboCop and I can't think of his partner's name now. Anyway, respectively, the fact they've got both of them doing the voices, it's got a little bit of cheek about it, and RoboCop is RoboCop, so he's pretty much invincible to a degree. But they've managed to create a storyline in old Detroit that works. Yeah, and like I say, it's not going to set the world alight. The reviews are pretty good. Most of it's like 92%. I think I saw when I was looking at my notes earlier on Steam for like the reviews. Yeah. But it's just a good game. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's one of those ones you don't have to worry about playing. It's like, like you get into like Starfield or whatever, and it's quite complex in that. You don't have to think about this, this is a 35-year-old franchise that puts you in RoboCop in between the first and the second film. I think it's the second and third film, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And it sticks to the source material. Nice. Yeah, some of it's daft in the way that the guns, he feels quite cumbersome, but it's like all this stuff you've got to level up. The side quests are funny as well. You get to see like more a human side to RoboCop, like the bit that's Murphy. But again, and I played it. I think I completed it in about sort of, I don't know, maybe 10 hours or so, maybe slightly longer. I can't remember. It wasn't massively 11.7 hours. I've just looked on Steam. 11.7 hours to complete it. But it's good. I don't know whether it was worth the 30. Well, it came out at 44 quid, and I think I got it somewhere else for about 35. I don't know whether it's worth 35 quid, and I know that's terrible to say. I know that's not the right way to look at it from a developer's standpoint. But there are some good moments in it. The bit like, if you've ever seen the RoboCop films, those of a certain age, they're like the bit where RoboCop targets, the green lines. It's got that dot matrix feel to it as well. It's quite a funny game. So it is a really enjoyable thing. So for me, that was one of the games that stuck out for me this year. Another quick pick, 'cause I'm talking games if you don't mind, was finally we got Ready or Not released, didn't we? So Ready or Not, which is the kind of spiritual successor to the SWAT games. And now I've had this, and I'm actually convinced you to buy it, didn't I?
I need to reinstall it though, because I rebuilt a PC and I haven't got around to installing it yet.
So I bought this, I think last year when it was in early access, and it finally came out of early access with a version 1 release, which was I think about December the 18th or something like that. Was it? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, very very recent.
And they finally gave it. Finally got all of the missions in there. If you've been playing it for the last couple of years, I guess you'll recognise the levels, but they're now polished. The AI said there's a storyline, and it works really well. There are some bugs, but it really does play well. And it is one of these classic games where, as the kind of police element to it, if you die, you die, and also if you make a mistake, your team suffers. So there's a real essence of you've got to work as a team. You've got to use the commands of the squad. You can't just go in guns blazing like one of our good friends. You have to really think about how you're going to approach these missions and really kind of plan ahead, to be honest with you. You can't plan for eventualities because the AI is quite good, but you've got to kind of think about what can be run the next corner. And, the old kick the door in, blow a thing up approach generally gets you killed. It is a good game like that. So I haven't, I think I've done about 3 or 4 of the missions so far. It is stressing me out because I've got several of my officers out on medical leave at the minute, which is causing me some problems.
Is that because of something you did or didn't do?
Maybe they just found it very difficult to, get in the door. But like I said, so that's probably 2 of my games picks anyway for the last year.
Oh yeah, game-wise for me, there hasn't been any massive standout ones this year. I mean, we played Forza Motorsport, Horizon 5, Payday 3 still gives me heart palpitations every time we play it. It gets so frantic. Starfield I've been enjoying, but there's nothing that's really gripped me. I find I keep going back to one of the Ghost Recon games. So while it isn't one this year, I am looking forward to next year, Grey Zone Warfare. Because this looks like it's not Ubisoft.
Oh, so this saw me on Steam, wasn't it? That we've added to the wish list.
Who is this? This is Madfinger Games doing this one. It's not Ubisoft. It's not an official Ghost Recon, but it looks very much like Ghost Recon. It's co-op. It's a giant island. It's set in Asia somewhere. I think there's some Soviets.
Is that your generic? Is that your generic Asia?
That's it. Yeah, there's been a coup or civil uprising. The usual thing. There are Soviets involved as well, apparently. But yeah, it looks very much like a Ghost Recon game, and most important, it's got co-op. So me, you, and our friend. We can fire up a team. We can go take them all out. I'm really looking forward to this one.
I have to say, so yeah, I had a look at it myself, and it had elements of Wildlands in it for me. That was kind of that kind of Asia, South Asia, South America style. Yeah, kind
jungle.
And it looks pretty good, as you said. It looks like it's helicopters. I think hopefully you can fly those. The gameplay videos look pretty good. And again, it's tactical. We like that. We got to a stage in life now where Modern Warfare and all that kind of stuff. It's good fun, but you want to play a little bit of I have to think about this a bit more, isn't it? I want to get in there.
I will play Modern Warfare 3 once it hits Game Pass, which apparently is going to be 2024. So we'll fire that one up, and we'll get killed a lot, but we'll give it a go.
I'll play the single player on that.
Yeah, maybe not the multiplayer, but we'll give it a go. Homeworld 3 is the other one I'm looking forward to. It's been a long time.
Yes.
3. That should be out next year. I played the first 2, loved them. They're, what do you call them? Real-time strategy games, but 3-dimensional, set in space rather than 2D on a map on Earth somewhere. So it has an extra element there you have to think about. But I'm very much looking forward to it.
I watched one of the videos of that earlier, funnily enough. It was like yesterday, I think, or the day before. I can't remember now, but because I was on Steam. And it does look pretty impressive. I think it's a March release from what I saw.
Is it? Okay, so fairly early in the year. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it does look very impressive. And it kind of that's a good segue because that kind of reminded me a little bit of Foundation, the Apple TV series.
Yes, I still need to watch that.
And Foundation Series 2 was out this year, and it was absolutely stunning. The fact that it does a 120-year time jump in the first or second episode, and it does the same at the slight spoiler, sorry, at the end of it, it does it again. You jump several hundred years into the future at the end of it.
You really have to pay attention to go, right, what year are we in now? At the beginning of this, because it jumped around a lot in season 1. So
I think if I remember correctly, the one of the closing scenes, you're 152 years in the future.
Yeah.
It's like it's mental, but it just is stunning. I can't get away from how stunning it is, and it just I know we talked about this when we first came out. They're planning to have 8 series, they're potentially nearly 10 years worth of TV. The way the time it takes to come out, because nearly 2 years, wasn't it, from the first one to the second one? It was some time. 2021 to 2023, yes, basically 2 years. I can't wait for this next one. So we're looking probably 2025 for the next one. But it's just like I say, the vision, the artistry, the whole storyline and plot. It's diverged from the books massively, but I don't think that's a massive problem for most people now.
No.
But it's enjoyable. And once you get into it, and if you get into the characters and you can get the plot lines, it works very well. The first series, I think, was quite more difficult because they did a lot more jumps in that, and I know a lot of people suffered, didn't they, in kind of trying to keep up with that. There was elements of Lost, back then. But yeah, and I've talked about TV series Apple, and I probably might be one of your picks. Apologies if it is, and
Yep.
is obviously the MonsterVerse Monarch series at the
It
moment.
was. I have 2 down. So
I'll let you pick up on that then.
Yeah, I was going to say Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. I don't know how many episodes are we in on that one now. 5?
I want to say we're 7, 8. It must be 8. 8 come out on Fridays, don't they? So it must be 8.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I have watched 8 already. 9 must be out on Friday. Yeah, I've watched 8 already. But yeah, that's been a bit slow going, but I've kind of really, really enjoyed it. And there's a lot more MonsterVerse movies seem to be coming out next year, don't there? There's that one you sent me earlier,
Godzilla, but no, it's Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That's what it's called.
That's the one. That seems to follow. And again, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it. It seems to follow and tie in with Legacy of Monsters.
Yeah, it is, and it's also the follow-up to Godzilla versus Kong, as well as the cinematic release. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely go and watch that one, especially if you like big monsters. Actually, some of the episodes, I don't think you see a monster, or a monster might only be in there for 10 seconds. But it's all the lead up about how they find it. And Monarch's this secret organization, isn't it, that is trying to track these and potentially stop them and figure out where they come from and what they do or why.
And I think this is the clever part about it, though. And I think, again, they haven't gone in for this big. I mean, it's expensive to put a monster in every single episode. But I think what's so clever about it is that they have managed to build it up enough that the apprehension's there, isn't it? You're like, where's the monster coming from? What's coming next? And in the time with the films, even though this is set, isn't it? I think we talked, was it 2015? We said, wasn't it?
Between times, it's the 2015. I think which is between some of the actual movies, and then there's 1960s or 70s as well. It jumps between about 3 different time zones every now and then.
Yeah, and I think, but it's the film itself is set before. Sorry, the series is set before Godzilla versus Kong, isn't it?
Yeah, after the first Godzilla one, because they talk about it.
Yes, right.
In San Francisco, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
But before Kong was doing nothing about Kong so far.
No, that's correct, yeah. So that's really good. I think I think it's also before Godzilla King of the Monsters as well.
Possibly. Yeah.
Well, the one where where they have the round the world fight, don't they? And they have the device, the Orca or whatever it's called, that calls people in. So I think it's set before that as well. But yeah, again, really cleverly done. Typical Apple, high-end production, really ties in well. That double timepiece, again, I think is a really clever plot line, isn't it? To kind of get your interest in
generations of family as well here. So, like the grandparents and the children, stuff like that, are all mixed into it. So, yeah. And the other one I've been really enjoying, based on the book, Reacher.
So I haven't watched Series 2 yet on that.
So Series 2 is based on his 11th book, Bad Luck and Trouble. Whereas the season 1 was based on Killing Floor, which I think is the first book. So there's been quite a jump in books. But from what I've seen so far, it's quite self-contained. So if you've never seen the first one, you could just jump straight into season 2. I think the only characters that are still in season 2 so far, I think I'm 4 episodes in, are obviously Reacher himself and Neely, the lady from the first one. She makes a couple of appearances.
I've read most of the Reacher books years ago. Before now, I say most of them because I know there is a lot. I read a lot of them, absolutely a lot of them, and I think I've probably read that book.
Yeah, this one's about is it his old team, the 110th Special
Investigation that's
Unit,
right.
They start being killed off.
Yes.
Okay, New York, who's trying to figure out what's going on and track down the killers.
So I think and again in the books, what's quite clever because in some of the books they're first person.
Yeah.
And other books they're written in third person. It's quite clever.
Okay. I've not read
so so it changes. But they are really good. I can't wait to watch it. I have to say, after the Tom Cruise Reachers, there was a bit of anticipation, wasn't there, about is this going to work?
Alan Ritchson, he's so good as Reacher.
He's perfect.
I enjoyed Tom Cruise's Reacher, but I hadn't read the books. So I knew nothing about Reacher before watching films. I thought, it was all right. I quite enjoyed the action. But Alan Ritchson is so much better than Tom Cruise as Reacher.
Well, I mean, in the books, Reacher's 6'5", built like a tank, Well,
Alan is as well.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. He, compared to Cruise, he fits that portrayal of what you expect Reacher to be, as that,
Yeah.
that kind of, if you've read the books, you kind of have that visualization, don't you, of what somebody might look
Yeah,
like.
of course.
And I think he fits that really well. So for me, I've got that on queued up to watch, and I have to say I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, definitely.
It's already been greenlit for the filming season 3 already.
Well, it's because it's so damn good, isn't it?
Yeah. So he said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he put something out on Twitter, and yeah, they're already filming season 3. I don't know which book this is based on, but yeah, it's in production already.
Excellent. I tell you, talking about, I kind of had a quick one on Scott TV and films then. Oppenheimer for me was a really, really good film.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that. That was such a really, really insightful film. There's a little bit of liberty with some of the historical elements of it.
Okay,
it's Hollywood, isn't it? But I think it played well. I think it was a good, given where we are in the current timeline, and what it represents around the portrayal of not the discovery, excuse me, the development of the first atomic bomb, or second atomic bomb as well, and obviously where that led, and how Oppenheimer was. Well, I think he was hounded because of views that he'd held prior to joining the Manhattan Project, and it was all about McCarthyism, read under the bedtime, where everybody who wasn't towing the line was clearly a communist, but it has such a casting, there's it's Cillian, isn't it? Cillian Murphy, I can't even pronounce that correctly.
Yeah.
You've got Matt Damon's in it, Robert Downey Jr.'s in it, you've got Josh Hartnett, you've got Rami Malek's even in it.
Huge cast,
massive cast. So doing really well. Really well. I mean, that's just to name a few of the ones I can remember, but it absolutely massive cast in it as well. And I think the other film probably you might have as well, just as one that really enjoyed this year, was Creator. I thought that was I didn't
have
it
on
film.
my list. I had John Wick 4, just because it was the conclusion of where of the films.
Yeah.
Of his film, there is Ballerina coming out this year, which is set in the past, a prequel. But thoroughly enjoyed that one. It did have a sad ending. It had to come to an end, but it was good.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, I still do as well. I welled up. But the other one I just had down, just a 2-second mention, was the Meg 2. It's so stupidly funny. I mean, it's more of the same. I love the Meg 1. Me and the kids love the Meg 2. It's Jason Statham at his best, being completely improbable. It's all set a bit in the future, and is it the Barrier? Is that where the Meg came from? There's some
the Marianas Trench, and there's
the
like this.
Under that, and then some shady organization starts mining below it, and of course everything goes wrong, and a Meg or 2 or whatever escapes, along with sort of other creatures, that causes havoc around the world. It's great fun.
So, as I think I said when this first came out, I said to you, I read the books years ago by Steve Alton.
Right,
and they are good. There's 6 of them. And
really? Okay.
Yeah. So there's plenty of material. I didn't know this until I looked this up the other day.
Yeah.
But the Meg 1 was actually a successful film.
Well, I imagine it was. It was a bit different. We haven't had a decent shark film since Jaws.
No. So the Meg 2, I don't know what it's grossed, but I get it's probably close to it. But apparently they're saying that there is the Meg 3 apparently was green. Not I don't know if it was greenlit, but it was touted it could actually come out.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd be interested to see whether or not. But I
grossed just under $400 million worldwide.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
Don't know if that was a financial success or not.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it as well. I like you say, it's Jason Statham at his best. It's kind of almost back to that 80s style of films, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of you don't have to think too much about it. And with modern effects, it doesn't look cheesy either. It works.
No, it's pretty good.
I have to say I enjoyed that as well.
It cost 185 million to make. It made 390 million. I'd say that's a success. Double what it cost.
Well then, it's got to be in it. So yeah, I'm good for that. I think that works really well. I think we didn't talk about gadget. I didn't bring a gadget, but one thing for me this year.
Yep, go for it.
To add on to your DJI Mini, by the way, is for me there is one gadget this year, but it's not a physical gadget. It's ChatGPT, and not just ChatGPT.
Yes.
It's Claude by Anthropic, Bard by Google. This past year, I've really got into using all of those devices, all of those platforms, particularly ChatGPT. I've really embraced that. Paying for it now. are starting to use it to really kind of not just for basic stuff, but actually shaping things, analyzing data.
Yep.
It's been really useful with my personal sort of education to help me summarize PDFs and large data sets. It does that really well. And also, if you give it kind of ideas of things you want to write, it'll help form a synopsis. So if you're kind of like struggling to, I don't know, put an essay together, I could say, right, here's my titles. How should give me a way to order this properly, and it does it really well. So it gives you kind of the bones. And you think, right, brilliant. I can go away and write now based on this structure and things like that. So it's really, really helpful. And I think if you look at things like Midjourney, I saw a great set. Midjourney being the image creation. Yeah. I saw a video the other day that showed Midjourney generation in 2 years. And
it went through that, yeah.
And you saw it with the Miner. It was the Miner, wasn't it?
The one, yeah. And how it had progressed. It was stunning.
And it went from being kind of abstract, didn't it? To be fair.
Yeah.
To I couldn't decide whether or not I knew that was not real.
Yeah.
But there was part of me going, if you'd shown me that for the first time, I'd have said that was a stylized photograph, the vinyl image.
Yeah, and like 10 years ago or whatever, you would have gone, yeah, that's not CGI.
No, it is absolutely amazing. And I think in the next 6 months, we're going to see an absolute explosion in capability and technology. A little bit terrifying, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we're going to be going with it. And for me, that's also, I think, going to be my pick for 2024 as well, is AI capability, if I'm honest with you. If I kind of have to say one thing for the coming year,
yep,
it's AI capability.
Okay, so I had one last thing, and I think you're going to appreciate that. Anyone that likes home labbing is going to appreciate it. I came across it this morning, and I thought, I'll
no,
I won't. So obviously, if you're home labbing, you quite often buy X Enterprise gear, don't you? It's a bit power hungry and noisy. Well, I came across a company called Minisforum. I already have one of their boxes I use for a work machine, okay? But they've just released a new one called the MSO1, right?
Right.
It's probably about twice the size of a NUC by the look of it. So it's a bit bigger than a mini one, but you're getting a Core i9 13900H in there. So 14 cores, 20 threads, up to 64 gig of RAM, 3 NVMe slots, okay? An expansion slot for a PCIe 4 X16 expansion slot in it. But the bit that got me, not only do you get two 2.5 gig Ethernet ports, you get two 10 gigabit SFP plus ports.
What?
That's what threw me. This is the perfect VM host to put Proxmox on. Oh, it's got two Thunderbolt 4 ports, so you can put an external GPU on if you wanted.
Oh, don't tell me that now.
And £549.
In the grand scheme of things, that's pretty good going.
You need to add RAM to that, and you need to
add storage. Yeah.
It comes with a CPU already in it because it's a laptop style CPU, the H version. But you're still getting, turbo up to 5.4 gigahertz on it, 24 mega cache. I thought for 549 quid, including the 10 gigabit Ethernet, two of them, pretty good bargain. One or two or three of those, and my lab's completely redone, using hardly any power whatsoever.
That is quite impressive bit of kit.
I'll send you a link afterwards, but I was like,
yeah, please do.
That one.
Please do.
So
that's awesome.
Success, they might bring a better one. But I could do it for a bit more RAM, 64 gig maximum. If it's been 128, or what's the weird one they do now? 96.
Oh, 96. Yeah, it's like in the old days, isn't it? Weird stuff.
Yeah, 96. A bit of an odd one. But yeah, if I even 96 gig of RAM in a box, that'd be perfect.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yep.
Nice, very nice. Don't tell me these things now, So that's your pick for 24 then, is it? That new
I want to redo the home lab. I might do some upgrades.
Awesome. Well, I think, a kind of wish list one though, kind of up the top of my head would be, I'm interested to see where we're going with the iPhone 16 and the Watch X as well. Sorry, Watch 10, shouldn't say
Watch
X.
10, not the X.
Because those will be I think for me, I'm curious to see where they're going,
Definitely. Yeah, tune in September. We'll have more info.
We will, but I think we've got CES coming up, haven't we? In the next couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting to see what we come out of CES as well. But yeah, it's been a good year tech-wise. Not so good year for gaming. I think we've kind of had a mediocre year for gaming, if I'm honest with you, in my opinion. So let's see what 24 brings. But I think for me, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's listened to the show for the past 3 years. Plus, anybody that's joined us this year, really appreciate you listening. I look forward to continuing this for as long as we can. I enjoy making this podcast, and we'll hopefully continue to make many more episodes. And hopefully this year we'll maybe give it another overhaul again. I think maybe this is the time for us to give a little bit of a spruce and a polish, and see what we can do. But thank you to everybody that listens, and look forward to being back telling you all the latest tech stories in the next week or so.
All right, well, have a good evening all.
On that note, we wish you a happy new year, or if it's already 2024 by the time you listen to this, hope you had a happy new year. And we'll be back soon. With that, I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good one all.